So what are the differences in strategies? Because I think a lot of developers right now, and we had this question come through a few times around, what are the kind of key pillars of the strategy as far as going into a relaunch, which a lot of projects will be, that are maybe half sold down versus launching for the first time. What's your view there, John? How are you kind of approaching it?
I think it's simple. It's not that complicated. The market's changed. It's softened. So you've got to have your project match the market. So your offering's got to be your product, your plans, your amenities, your services, your terms, your incentives, your pricing have all got to match the market demand. So if your client's willing to adapt, you as a developer, as Lendlease, adapt to the current market, you'll make the sales. So there's two types of projects that'll come onto the market, and we use the terms. There's projects that are on the market, and the projects that are in the market that have matched the market demands.
Yeah.
There's plenty of projects on the market, but they haven't matched the market demands. They're not in the market. This morning who had a project that had slowed down, and I went and had a quick review of it. It was marketed by one of my learned industry colleagues, and there was a clear selling pattern through the project where there was a price point and there was demand at a price point. Anything above that price point, the project wasn't selling. And it was simple to me. Meet that price point, you'll continue to get sales. The other thing that we've noticed right across the whole economy is, people are concerned about the future, the economic future of both their own homes, but also the rest of the economy. And they need to be coerced into doing a deal. There has to be a deal there.
Yeah.
I look at myself at home personally over this lockdown period, and I look at, I know the DHL delivery guy by name now. He's been coming in, and my 18-year-old got a pair of sneakers the other day, and she said, I got a great deal on them. They came with free laces. And I said, terrific. She got a deal. She responded. And I think that's the thing. So I think you've got to adjust your strategies. You've got to allow for a bit of a deal, a bit of an incentive in your pricing structure. And you've got to change your marketing. I think there's no longer a one-size-fits-all approach. There never has been in property marketing. There's specific demographics that will appeal to different product within projects, whether they be greenfield sites or whether they be vertical apartment villages. So you've got to segment to succeed. Write that down, folks. Segment to succeed. So there'll be a different buyer for a one-bedroom apartment than there will for a three-bedroom penthouse. Okay?
Like the vertical community as well, John. Coming up.
The same ads, everyone using the same graphic, the same copy on the same mediums. Segment to succeed. Divide and conquer. Okay, and that's my tip, and reinvent, not pivot, reinvent. Okay, so one bedroom plus study. Paul is mentioning there's strong demand from first home buyers. That study becomes a one bedroom plus nursery for a first home buyer. Okay, that's a simple example. So, it's adjust, have some fat in there. Look at incentives and make that customer journey as simple as possible. So in saying that, I've always spoken about the 1%ers, and as our business, our success is built on the 1%ers and finessing everything we do. So if we talk about the 1%ers, make sure you have various finance packages available for the clients and they're easy to preempt perhaps that this government $50,000 stimulus may come in, and start to pre-plan for that with your product, your pricing, your positioning and your incentives and the way in which you market it.
Yeah.
Change your traditional approach to follow up. A follow up is generally an agent will get on the phone and say, hey, thanks for your inquiry. I'm glad you called about, Happy Lakes. I'm thrilled to inquire. How about you come and have a look at the display? You need to create a greater sense of urgency and a sense that they're going to get a deal to get them in the door of your sales centre. You know, what I'm sick of hearing is, oh, do we need to have an online platform? Do I need to have the virtual goggles on every buyer? Will they buy with the goggles? You know, every time I put those virtual reality glasses on someone, they knock into the walls into this place where it's all out, right? Old-fashioned, you know, face-to-face contact where you can work with a customer, understand their real needs and their real drivers will get you a result in this market if you create a sense of urgency through offering a deal.
Love it. What do you reckon, Paul?
Yeah,
it's a hard act to follow, mate. Johnny's on fire today.
He's on fire. I think he stole my word segment, didn't he? I used the lower price segment.
Mate. That's what he does, you know. You got to watch out for him.
Anyway, but I like it, Johnny. I like it. It's very much about markets or horses for courses, and I think with the term I'm sort of now adopting, which is plan and adjust. You know, expectations are going to be adjusted. It's as simple as that. So you've got to meet the market. There's no point sitting outside that segment.
The cost of capital will kill you anyway. Ultimately, if you don't meet the market on price, you're going to pay on the debt.
Yeah, look, buyers are astute these days. They know they're not silly. They can smell it a mile away. So, you know, we've got to stop the BS and get down to the fundamental of selling, which is...
I love that, Paul. I love that. Stop the BS. Are you in the market? Are you a buyer? What do I need to do to make you buy this property?
Yep.
Let's do it.
And look, some people are on a different path or different journey, and we just got to be patient. You know, this whole catch and kill approach by some, look, that's old school. What I like, John, and you touched on it, is, you know, trying to get people to sales centres. Yeah, clear that's where we do our business most of the time. But there's a big shift at the moment, clearly, into that virtual digital world. There's no reason why we can't have these video calls on our phones and the person just opens up that conversation to a visual where they are in their sales centre and walks them around the sales centre. You know, creates an attraction such that they actually look at things in the background going, actually, yeah, I would like to come in and meet you. You know, it's not about trying to hook them. It's about trying to help them. And I think that's where our messaging needs to now change is, you know, we're seeing the same things being marketed time in, time out. You know, I come back to fundamentals, and that's what I think about relaunch is all about. What's your fundamental? Going back to the old school, you know, price, package, promotion, you know, place. It's looking at each of those components and working it out and aligning it to your market segment. And if you put some decent non-bullshit marketing messages around it, I think you'll find you'll get some good cut through. Look, and the thing I'm seeing that's going to support that is as we go through these phased stage release sort of programs across the states, clearly we're in the first level of it. We're going to see an increase in engagement. We're going to see, you know, cafes and restaurants start to open up at some level, then the pubs, the clubs, the sporting venues. So, you know, this word of mouth factor that I talked about before is part of the social DNA. It's the part of the way we work as people, yeah? So we need social proof. We need our best mate to say to us, you know, oh, yeah, actually that, you know, that looks pretty interesting. Or our best mate to absolutely can it and say, no, I wouldn't go near it with a barge pole. I mean, we all rely on those things, right? So the question is, who are those trusted advisors? And how can we get more engagement? So clearly at the moment it's local, very local. Eventually it will be interstate. And eventually, yeah, look, it will be, you know, regional and beyond. So, you know, there is a path out of this. It is slow, but we've got to make hay while the sun shines. And I'm going to coin a phrase, this one, whether
coining phrases, we're getting out, working out how we're doing bloody deals, you know, come on.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, you know, weather drives seasonal behaviour. So, you know, the old saying is, you know, sell when the flowers are out, but I like to sell when the buyers are out. Okay, so fundamentals drives economics, and look back at the fundamentals. Yeah.
I think that's all very well said. And let me have a bit of a crack here, Paul, at you. I mean, you know, you work for a public company. I'm a shareholder in your company, a very minute shareholder in my super fund. I want transactions. I want a return. So you've got to sell for me today, right? I think you've got to be able to, as real estate professionals, sell in any market. There are opportunities. We've just got to point those out, find those opportunities, and convince the buyers. I don't necessarily agree with all this sort of virtual reality. That's never going to replace face-to-face contact and doing a deal in front of someone and building a beautiful personal relationship.
I think that's not what Paul's saying. I think it's...
No, he wasn't. So I am having a crack. I think it aged to a point, but where I'm concerned about that point is you've got to have that wow factor when you meet them, and you've got to save the best to last. So if you give them too much information as the purchaser during that purchaser journey, and there's nothing to get excited about once you finally meet them face to face, you kill the deal. So always hold something back, right? But, you know, we've got to, I think, you know, throughout any market, there is opportunities in this market, as long as we all adjust to the current conditions. And frankly, we can talk about everything, packaging, promotion and everything else. It all comes down to really one thing: pricing your product accordingly.
It's like giving the flexibility to the salespeople as well, so they can actually do the deal, right?
And then pricing is not just your headline price on your price list. It can be, your pricing can be wrapped up in your incentives, in your promotion, in your settlement terms, but pricing it accordingly to the market conditions to captivate the interest of the consumer to do the deal.
Would you not say though, John, that given the circumstances that, you know, I agree, I think the agent is there's going to be a real estate agent in the transaction for the potentially the next 50 years, right? But I would have to say, I think some of those touch points are going to be occurring. Some of those touch points in the sales process can occur digitally and take users along that journey. I agree the transaction is going to occur face to face, but I think Paul's right in the sense of you can take a consumer a long way through the customer journey with a video call on your phone going around a display suite. There's no doubt about that.
I think in times like this, and Paul touched on it, is the relationship with the trusted advisor. Now, if you have personal contact with a consumer, in the old days, we'd have to call them 3 times, meet them at the display, that was a 4th, and then they'd have enough confidence to do business with us. We're finding in today's market, we're having to have 6 conversations with them before we even meet them face to face. Now, we take advantage of those opportunities, and they are so unique, and we were so fortunate to be allowed to have those times with the customer to get to know them, to get to know what drives them, and find an adequate solution to their purchasing issues, right? And that's to, I think, build a better personable relationship, which is difficult to do online by sending EDMs or videos or walkthroughs or everything. As great as your website is, Mike, I think it's brilliant. You know, there's nothing better than face-to-face personal communication to build a relationship with someone.
Johnny, you can only talk to a few people at a time though, mate. We're talking 150,000 a month, so I think we've got you there. And we might not be able to transact.
We've got a big sales team here at 360 and they're raring to go.
Mate, that's how we make a good team, John, you know?
7.
It's a 1 + 1 = 3, mate. That's how we do it. Any final words on this one, Paul?
I would just say it's all dependent on your strategy, isn't it, really? Whether you're going for the volume or, you know, or the quality.
Just go for the sale. That's it.
Yeah.